joined on the Voices for Victory podcast by longtime television executive, longtime supporter of the V Foundation, now author, Ray Cole. Ray, thanks so much for taking some time to chat with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be with you today.
Ray, there's a lot I want to chat with you about. Your book, Hangin with Winners, it's such a cool idea. I want to dive into sort of how you came up with it and sort of the process that it took to put it together. But first, I just want to note and thank you that, I know the proceeds from your book benefit a number of different nonprofits and charities, one of which is the V Foundation. So just off the top of, off the bat, I want to thank you for supporting the V Foundation. I know you've been a longtime supporter of the V. What sort of started your support of the V Foundation?
Well, I had the pleasure of knowing Jim Valvano. Our mutual friend Dick Vitale introduced me to Jimmy V in 1991. Jimmy V came to Sioux City, Iowa, where I was running an ABC television station at the time, to do a speaking event for me. It was the day after that year's Final Four. He was a bit ragged, a bit tired, but if we know anything about Jimmy V, it's that he has a tremendous energy. Jimmy V always used to talk about the four E's, which were exuberance and energy and excitement and enthusiasm. And it was amazing to see just how much enthusiasm Jimmy V could muster at a big speaking event less than 24 hours after the Final Four that he'd helped cover for ESPN.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that too, Ray. And I know a lot of, unfortunately never had the chance to meet Jim, but I have had the pleasure of getting to meet Dick Vitale on a couple of occasions. And when people tell you it's not an act on TV with Dick, as you well know, it is not an act. That's just who Dick is. I imagine, and from people that I've talked to that knew him, that Jim was very much the same way, right? That boisterous personality was very much who he was off camera, right?
Yeah, I got to spend some time with him, but in the years since, I've had the opportunity to, whether it was for my book or for other events, I interviewed Chris Berman, for example, the year that he was an honoree at Dick Vitale's gala that he holds every year in Sarasota, raising money for pediatric cancer research. And so, talking to people like Chris Berman, who was there at that inaugural ESPYs in 1993. He was there for that speech. To talk to people like Leslie Visser, who were there, she said to us, everyone there that night saw his bravery. They saw his courage. And everybody, Leslie said, knew the second he started walking up there. Many people started sobbing because they knew what he was giving them. They knew what he was giving all of us. In that moment in March of 1993. It was pretty special.
Yeah, and it's really lived on almost 30 years later now. It's still such a huge part of not only what the V Foundation is, but I know when I talk to people who've been through a cancer battle or maybe lost someone that they're close to from cancer, that speech is a motivational factor. It's an inspirational piece of their lives.
Yeah, I would say to you, Mick, that his speech, everybody knows that speech. They know the enduring themes. But to me, what's pretty amazing is how those themes have carried on. They are now embodied in the mission of the V Foundation, and the work that's being done to continue his legacy is pretty remarkable. Obviously, the mantra of the V Foundation to this day is "Don't give up, don't ever give up." And to see the way that message, those many themes continue to resonate with people today, underscores what a powerful speech and series of messages he presented.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And for me, the message of having a full day of laugh, think, and cry, a full day, let alone a full day. You do all those when you just watch the speech, right? In that 12 minutes of the speech, you laugh, you think, and you cry, which I think is just such a cool part of it. I want to dive in a little bit on your book, Ray, because it's a very cool concept. Again, it's called Hangin with Winners. You talk to a number of different people from different industries, all of whom are very successful. From Diane Sawyer to Robin Roberts to Jimmy Kimmel to Michael J. Fox. The list goes on. To start off with, because I think it's such a cool idea, How did you first come up with the concept that this was a book you wanted to write?
Well, we sold a group of stations in Iowa in 2013, and I had some colleagues and friends and family suggest I write a book, but I was still too busy. We still had ABC stations in Lincoln, Nebraska, and Providence, Rhode Island, and I didn't give it much thought. But when we sold those stations in 2019, it did occur to me that maybe if I was going to do something like this, that would be the time. Not knowing that we were about to embark on a pandemic, which complicated and slowed the process down. My co-writer, Rob Gray, and I thought we could do this book in 2 to 3 months, and we would interview 15 to 20 people. In fact, it took almost 20 months, and we ended up interviewing almost 80 people. And the book is centered around 32 profiles. 27 of those profiles are of individuals, and the other 5 are really of what I call winning organizations. One of those winning organizations, as you know, Mick, is the V Foundation. And essentially, the profile of the V Foundation has everything to do with Jim Valvano. There are 27 profiles of individuals, though, who also really have close ties to the V Foundation. George Bodenheimer, the longtime CEO of ESPN and a member of the V Foundation board. He captains some of the most important fundraising that takes place for the V Foundation year in, year out. We profile people like Robin Roberts in the book, and Robin too, again, very special person in my life, someone that I've worked with oftentimes on V Foundation related matters, and we touched on so many things in that interview about Jim Valvano and about her personal battle with cancer. It's well chronicled. She had breast cancer in 2007. And then in 2012, she faced an even stiffer battle with what's called MDS. Dick Vitale, we've talked about Dick already, but Dick Vitale has been a wonderful supporter of the book. He too is profiled. I've toured children's hospitals with Dick Vitale, Mick, to see the passion that he has year in, year out. It's a 24/7 year-round endeavor for Dick and Lorraine Vitale. His gala this year will be held on May 6th. He is committed to raising over $7 million that night, and he's well on the way to doing it. That will push his cumulative total since he started doing this gala many years ago to over $50 million. The V Foundation's fundraising efforts for research of cancers of all kinds, not just pediatric, of course, is now well over $250 million. So Dick Vitale, profiled in the book, is a pretty special person.
Yeah, and I just couldn't agree with you more, Ray. That you said he takes it personally for each of these kids that he meets, and there's no question that he does, because he's so invested when he gets a chance to meet these kids who are going through this horrific disease, and he's so passionate about trying to raise money to fund research that's going to help more kids down the line. And I think what says the most about Dick is, it's been a tough year for Dick personally. He was diagnosed with cancer this fall. Thank goodness we're recording this on March 16th. Just last week, I believe, he announced that the scans are beautiful. The cancer at the time is gone, which is incredible news. I just saw this morning, he posted on Instagram that his voice is now back, which, anyone who has seen Dick knows not being able to speak has been very difficult for him. He's someone who wants to display his emotions and wants to share with people. But through all that, which I know was he wasn't able to call college basketball games, which is, of course, his other passion. Through all of that, his passion was still raising money for kids who are battling cancer and raising money for pediatric cancer research. Through all, whether he couldn't call or go on TV, but he could text, he could use social media. As you know, Ray, that even facing his own cancer diagnosis, that didn't change the focus, right? I mean, he was still laser focused on pediatric cancer research, as always.
When Robin Roberts battled her cancer battles, starting with breast cancer in 2007, she took on her mother's message, which was make your mess your message. And she was very transparent, very open about what she was going through. Dick has done that in a very similar manner all along. He goes to that beautiful cancer facility they have at Sarasota Memorial Hospital in a new cancer tower they opened up there just shortly before, coincidentally, shortly before he started his treatments there. Dick was one of the first patients in this new tower. And you mentioned his voice. You know, he had lesions on his vocal cords. He had to have surgery. I've stayed in touch with Dick, and I said to him very seriously, Dick, telling you not to talk is like telling a lion not to growl. That's a pretty tall order. He is going to beat this with the same tenacity uh, and the same kind of commitment that he brings to raising money for pediatric cancer research. I said early on, cancer didn't have a fighting chance when they took on Dick Vitale.
No doubt about that, Ray. I want to ask you too about, just because you interviewed so many fascinating people for the book. Do you have a couple of maybe favorite stories from the interviews, whether that's, you know, a quote you used in the book, or just maybe a behind the scenes story that kind of was memorable to you as you were putting everything together?
Yeah, you know, the premise of the book, Mick, was to identify qualities and characteristics and traits and attributes that can help others lead a life with more happiness and have a career that might find a little more success. It was not for me to dispense or dole out advice. That's not why I wrote the book. What I did was try to take the myriad of connections that I was blessed to forge over the course of a 45-year career in our business and talk to many of those people and to share their thoughts and their ideas and to do it hopefully in a way that would inspire the readers of the book in the same way that those who were interviewed for and or profiled in the book inspired me. If I was to go back to one that you asked about, Mick, I might go back to Diane Sawyer. Diane it was really interesting. She said, "Winner is not a word that's in my vocabulary. I don't think that way." And you know, she and others made the point that winner is not a word that you're going to put in a bio. It's not a word you're going to find on a resume. But the more we talked to Diane, she came around to giving us one of the great definitions that is found in this book. And what she said in essence was that what it means to be a winner is reaching that point in your life where your mission meets joy, where you feel you've really delivered on something you care deeply about. When you get to wake up every morning and the thing you want to do is the thing you get to do, and then that somehow makes the world better. What a simple yet profound way to describe what it means to be a winner.
Yeah, that's wow. That is quite a way to put it. From, and no surprise that Diane Sawyer would find the perfect words to describe it that way, right? Well, Ray, I know it's a fascinating idea of what you've put together, and I do hope people check it out. I want to ask you one more question, just tying back into the V Foundation, because as you said, you know, you've been involved as a supporter of the organization for many years. And you've seen it grow. You talked about how it's grown from Jim's speech to where it is now with all the money that's been raised. But what would victory over cancer look like to you?
If I can, I'm gonna give you maybe two different answers to that. If I can give you a part A and a part B. Um,
Of
you
course.
know, it's wonderful getting to know Shane Jacobson, who's now the CEO of the V Foundation. Uh, for those who wouldn't know this, he is a native Iowan. He grew up in the town of Webster City, Iowa, and he went to Iowa State University. So somewhere deep down, we know Shane Jacobson is an Iowa State Cyclone. Um, but his predecessor, Susan Braun, was somebody that I had a chance to work with over the years. And I found her to be incredibly committed and a truly special person. One of the people that I believe blessed my life and enriched my career. And that's what the book is made up of, people like Susan Braun. And she said something to us that's a little different. And it's not just about raising money. It certainly is important and it leads to the life-saving research, which is so important to someday finding a cure. But what she pointed to is that the thread that pulls it all together is hope. Hope. She said, we see hope express itself in different ways in the work we do. Sometimes it is the hope for a cure. Sometimes the hope is in the form of new research, a finding that may be a breakthrough and it may be stunning. And all of us want to see more and more of those, no doubt. But hope can mean different things to different people. But what ties together the most beautiful and triumphant with the darkest and most tragic is hope. And I think what the V Foundation does as it continues the legacy of Jim Valvano is it helps grow hope. And I just think that is a remarkable byproduct of everything the V Foundation does and stands for.
I don't think I could have said it any better myself, Ray. Well put, and again, fascinating stuff. From all the different folks that you talked to for the book. Again, I think it's a very cool idea to put it all together, and I do hope folks check it out. Ray, thank you again. I know again some proceeds of this book do come to the V Foundation. We're so thankful to you for that, and I know you're supporting other organizations too, which is just we applaud you for doing that as well. So thank you for coming on and chatting with us today. Best of luck as you continue to push the book out there, and we hope we'll have you back on sometime to come and chat with us again.
I look forward to it, Mick, and best to you and your colleagues in North Carolina and all those who serve on the V Foundation board, and most importantly, to all those people across the country who support the V Foundation with their contributions, and blessings to those people who benefit from all of that great work.
Thanks so much, Ray. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.